Hi, this video explores one of the patterns that I think is the most valuable in the Chiron Codex patterns catalogue for AI augmented software development. It's called uReflect. It's available in the Chiron Codex Patreon and on the Chiron Codex library, and there'll be links to those in the video description. This pattern really helps us to become software engineering centaurs because it enables us to understand where we are limiting our own capabilities in the way that we work with our AI assistants and to improve how we work with the generative AI tools. I'm especially grateful to members of the Chiron Codex Patreon community who've discussed this pattern and how it's helped them in their work. So please do join the community and share your own experience over there. In the meantime, make sure you're hydrated, put on some background music, and let's discuss uReflect. At the core of uReflect is the observation that when you're working with a generative AI coding assistant, only one of the two of you gets emotional about the interaction and about the work you're doing, and as a hint, it's not the AI. The large language model just generates text in response to your prompt. It doesn't pick up on emotional cues, and that can lead to a kind of emotional spiral because the uncanny valley nature of the chat interface makes it feel like you're talking to an intelligent agent who's nonetheless ignoring or failing to pick up on your emotional cues. In fact, that's not true. You're working with a text generation tool that's perhaps generating some software code for you. And like any tool, you need to learn how to use its UI effectively and get the best out of it. So this pattern encourages you to find points where you get upset or frustrated or disappointed with the model or with the output it generates, and to identify whether the actions you take in those moments improve your outcomes or make it worse, or just try to take out your frustrations on the model, which ultimately isn't going to be the best way to get your work back on track and to improve your mood. Now, the full pattern description is available over in the Chiron Codex Patreon, and it's also available in a Creative Commons license document in the public Chiron Codex Patterns catalogue. Links to both of those in the video description. Let's take a look at an example in a real project where I have applied the uReflect pattern. Recently I was working on this project, AppScript, which is an interpreted subset of Objective-C for quickly scripting Cocoa apps on macOS. And while I was working on it, I had moments where I felt like the model, which in this case was Claude Sonnet 4.6, and I was using the Claude Code interface to drive the model, I felt like the model was saying that tasks were completed or declaring success, even though the work didn't seem to be complete. Now, I know that this is a problem with LLM tools. They demonstrate completion bias, where they can kind of take shortcuts to completing a task to avoid overfilling their context and to try and keep their user on side. Now, at the time, I was focusing on getting a release out, and I really wanted these tasks to be complete, so I was getting quite frustrated at the fact that I was having to prompt the agent to complete tasks that I had already told it to do, and I wasn't really in a good state to reflect on what I was doing and how I was working. So the next day I came to reflect on these interactions. I realized I couldn't actually remember the details of what it was that I got frustrated about. So I continued my session in Claude Code and I asked it to help me reflect. So here's what I said. Take a look back through this interaction and identify any points where the user got angry or frustrated and said things that didn't contribute to finishing our task. Show these moments to the user and make suggestions for how they can improve their work with you. And Claude came up with two suggestions which are actually on point and showed not only how I could have improved my interaction, but how I could have done so using patterns in the catalogue. So in this first instance, I say, well, are you going to get on and implement your plan now? I'm obviously frustrated that it seems to have stopped without like reporting an update or without kind of it being clear that a task was complete. And Claude tells me that a sub-agent had already made all the changes and that they weren't committed to Git. Now, perhaps they also weren't showing up in the UI, which is why I didn't see them as being done. But I could have applied the uReview pattern in this case, helping me understand what the current state is and potentially identifying a gap to intervene and fix myself or to prompt the tool to address. And it seems like in this case, the gap was just that the work had not been committed to Git, so it would have been easy for me to intervene and to do that myself. The second interaction here, I've been quite like snarky or sarcastic with the agent, and obviously agents don't pick up on sarcasm. I said, okay, well, the app doesn't even build, so I highly doubt that you followed the instructions in the coding standards file or have completed the work. Again, it's clear that I'm focusing on fixing these last tasks so that I can get a release out, and that I'm frustrated that this doesn't appear to be where my work with the agent is going. But look at this suggestion here. The build failure was real and the issue was missing import. Now it says not a standards violation. I disagree here because one of the requirements in the coding standards is that the integration tests have to pass. And if the system doesn't build, then you can't run it in a harness and you can't run the integration tests. That aside, its suggestion is when something fails, describe what you observed rather than interpretation of why. So the model is telling me to use call out error, one of the patterns in the Chiron Codex patterns catalog. It's telling me if you describe the error without saying what you think the fix is, then the model can attend to the error and diagnose it and generate a fix. That would lead directly to a fix, requiring very little intervention on my part, which would actually do more to improve my satisfaction with the interaction than getting sarcastic at a model that doesn't understand sarcasm. That doesn't help at all. That just gets me more wound up and frustrated. So I have not only learned 2 techniques to improve my interaction with a generative AI tool, 2 techniques to help me on my journey towards being a software engineering centaur. I've also learned that the techniques I can apply are reusable patterns. They are solutions to general problems that occur when working with generative AI, and that I've already described the solutions and used them in other contexts. So having learned how useful this process was of getting the model to help me with my reflection, I created this Help Me Reflect skill, and that is available in the Chiron Codex Agent Skills repository on Codeberg. There will be a link to that in the video description. So you can use this skill to help you reflect in your interactions with coding assistants. Thanks for watching this video. Please do like it and either subscribe to the YouTube channel or to Chiron Codex Patreon. And it's the Patreon where you should go to get early notifications of new patterns as I create the rest of the patterns catalogue, and exclusive content if you join the paid membership tiers, as well as being able to chat with other members of the community and to share your experiences and learn from the experiences of other software engineering centaurs. Wherever I see you, I'll see you around.